What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Tasty Tuesday on Tasty Loot Gaming, the show where we talk about gaming news. I'm Seth, and a couple quick reminders to download and play NBA 2K20 and Rise of the Tomb Raider, both offer for free on PlayStation Plus. Make sure to download those, play those, come back at the end of this week for Plus Club. Let us know what you thought of those games. We'll let you know we thought of them. We're in the last week, so you got to get those downloaded now if you want them. If you don't want them, fuck them. But also, the games for PlayStation Plus have already been announced, which they will be in August. Modern Warfare 2 Remastered and Fall Guys. The game that was just in beta that's going to be released is going to come out for free on PlayStation Plus for everyone on PS4. Pretty crazy. I played it in the beta. Make sure to check out that video. I played for like 3 hours on stream, and we talked about it recently on Tastecast. Me and Chevy both liked it quite a bit, so that's definitely pretty cool that we'll be playing that next month for PlayStation Plus Club, all that shit. So look forward to that. Our game of the month randomly picked is Dragon Quest Builders 2, which is a third-person, top-down kind of Minecraft meets JRPG game. Make sure to play that. Come back at the end of this week as well. We're going to be talking about that on Game of the Month and pick our new Game of the Month for August. I can't wait to find out what that is. And to clarify too, we talked about this on Tastycast. Chevy's pick for Game of the Month is not next month, it's the month after that. So it'll be randomly picked as well. We have a Discord link down below. You can talk to us anytime, all the time, and we're on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms if you prefer to listen to us. And we have a Patreon link down below as well if you'd like to support the channel further than watching, liking, commenting, and sharing. It's all appreciated. And thank you for all the support you guys give us. It's awesome. Thank you. And remember to type in hashtag AskTLG on your comment if you'd like to be considered for our reading your guys' comments segment on Tastecast, which you do on every Tastecast. So, if you want your comment to be read and replied to by us, put in hashtag AskTLG on your comment, and it will be considered for that. Otherwise, I pick a random. All right, Tasty Tuesday. I got two interesting bits of news to talk about, so let's just jump into them. First bit of news is a little bit of Hideo Kojima news, in which he is in talks with Junji Ito about working on a new horror game. Now, we've heard for a while now that Hideo Kojima has been thinking of making a horror game. Kind of after the whole thing with PT, he was already working on one, got that denied, and made Death Stranding, and now he's going to be working on a horror game, possibly, and he's talking to somebody who's very well known for making horror manga via, what is this, comicbook.com. The article reads, renowned Japanese horror mangaka Junji Ito has revealed that Hideo Kojima recently contacted him about working together on a new horror game. Unfortunately, Ito didn't divulge any further details, noting that discussions are still ongoing, but it looks like rumors and speculation were true. Kojima is working on a horror game. Ito revealed as much during an interview at Comic-Con 2020, and when asked if he was currently working on a video game project. Answering this, Ito reveals that he isn't. Before, he also notes that he has been in contact with Kojima about a possible horror game. Quote says, I do know director Kojima, and we have been in conversation that he may have a horror-based game that he may be doing, and so he has invited me to work on that, but there are no details on it yet, said Ito, speaking through a translator. As you can see, Ito uses some pretty vague and non-committal language here, such as he may have a horror. Thanks for breaking that down for us. We already read that. Ever since Death Stranding Standing released last year. Hideo Kojima has talked about doing a horror game on numerous occasions. Last year, not only did he reveal that he has a great idea for a horror game, but he even revealed how he's preparing to make the game. Meanwhile, back in April, Kojima expressed his interest in making a revolutionary horror game. Quote says, PT ended as just an experiment, but I would like to make another horror game someday, said Kojima. At the same time, something that uses a revolutionary method to create horror or terror that doesn't just make you pee your pants, but crap them. How eloquent. I already have ideas in mind. Tying into all of this, have been multiple rumors and reports about PlayStation, Konami, and Kojima being in three-way talks to revive Kojima's canceled Silent Hill games, widely known by the name of its viral demo, PT. However, for now, none of this has been confirmed. Alright, so we're pretty much getting confirmation here that at the very least, Kojima is thinking about making a horror game, and it does sound more and more like he is going to make it. If it keeps coming up in a conversation like this, it makes sense that would be next up for him. My opinion on that is, I'm a huge Kojima fanboy. Pretty much anything he makes, I'm excited for. It's very rare that I've played anything of his and been underwhelmed by it. I love Death Stranding, and I love the Metal Gear Solid series. It's my favorite series of all time. Metal Gear Solid 2 probably being the weakest of the main titles, in my opinion. And so anything he makes, I'm very excited for. So when it comes to him making a horror game, this is actually really exciting for me. So PT was really exciting for me. I think it was one of the scariest games I've ever played, and it was only like a tech demo. So to see what he could have actually done, not having his game canceled, is just something we'll never know. But it's something I was very curious about. I feel like Kojima has the mind to make some really crazy cerebral stuff, let alone some very crazy cerebral horror, and it's something I'm dying to see. So we got a little bit of a taste of that in Death Stranding, and I loved it. So I'd love to see what he can do if he's completely just trying to make a horror game that's supposed to scare you. I feel like he could do it. I think PT had some very, very good pacing and some very, very good horror in it for how short it was. So if he can make a whole game like that, it would be great. I love horror games. I love Kojima games. It's a match made in heaven for me. Now, him possibly working with Junji Ito would also be very cool. I have not read any of his manga, but I'm very familiar with his art style. I've seen it on the internet a million times. You guys probably have seen it too. Here's some of it right here. I want to kind of get that up just so some people will probably recognize his art and at least recognize, that he's responsible for making some very disturbing imagery. And to see him working with Kojima on horror would be very cool. I would like to see what those two minds can put together. And so I hope, first off, Kojima making a horror game is true. I hope that that's what's going to happen here. I feel like it is. If I was going to, put a percentage on the likelihood of it, I would probably say 80-85%. He's been talking about it long enough. I feel like he's been wanting to do it, and I feel like he's going to do it. Whether it's his next game or not, I don't know. But I do feel like it's going to be his next game. It sounds like he's pretty much on board with it. Now, I'm really hoping he gets Junji Ito on board with it as well. I think it'd be a very cool collaboration. All they need is Akira Yamaoka to do the soundtrack, and I would be in heaven. Now, when it comes to Silent Hill, if Konami were to revive that, that's a tough one for me because I feel like Silent Hill is kind of an era in gaming that you can't replicate at this point, and so you'd have to reinvent it, and who's going to reinvent it and how? That's my big concern. You're not going to make Silent Hill again the way it was. You need Team Silent, you need the era, you need the music of that era, you need the mindsets of that era. That's all gone at this point, in my opinion. I don't think you're going to do it again, but if you're going to take the name and try and make something else horror-based, you can't fuck it up, because it's just, that's a series that just really peaked and was just amazing, and just kind of got fucking ruined by people just trying to make money off the brand name and not really caring what the fuck made that brand so special in the first place. So that being said, I have my reservations on Konami making a Silent Hill game at all. I have my reservations on Konami making fucking anything, but Silent Hill is very near and dear to my heart. I fucking love Silent Hill. Silent Hill's my second favorite series of all time. So a lot of Konami games on that fucking list. But if you're going to give that name to anybody and let them work on something that you're going to call Silent Hill or Silent Hills, I have no reservations with giving it to Kojima, because Kojima will make it his own. And that's what I would want. If you're gonna try and make a new one, somebody's got to take that and make it into something that's wholly their own, while paying homage to the cerebral horror of Silent Hill, the psychological aspects of it. We got some Silent Hill games that were made after Team Silent disbanded, and you got ex-military vet knife monsters that crawl on fucking walls and shit and water and stuff like that, and all these weird fucking non-combat Silent Hill games and all sorts of weird shit and dodging mechanics like that. The soul of Silent Hill just is not there in those games. So like I said, at this point, you got to make your own thing, and I think Kojima is more than capable, way more than capable of making his own horror game, paying homage to Silent Hill as a series. I think he could do it. So I have confidence in him, and I don't have that confidence in a lot of people. That could be the fanboy in me, but I think it's hard to argue that Kojima doesn't make unique games. He does, even if they fit within a genre or can fit in a genre. They're experiences that you're not getting from other people by miles. So I think he would be the right guy to do it. So if they're gonna revive it and they're gonna give it to Kojima, I'll be excited for the most part, but I will be watching and hoping that it's going to be fantastic, because if there's any potential for that to happen, it's by those parameters. So yeah, all in all, I am excited for Kojima to make anything. I am excited for Kojima to make a horror game, and I am excited to get Junji Ito on board with working on that game. In fact, that just sounds awesome to me. I'm very excited by that, and I'm interested in the prospect of Konami getting Kojima to come back and work on something for them. That'd be very interesting. And I am morbidly curious about Konami making anything but making a Silent Hill game in general. That's an interesting thing. But let me know in the comments, what do you guys think about Hideo Kojima making a horror game, working with Junji Ito possibly on that horror game? Are you excited for that? Are you not excited for that? Would you like him to make something else? Do you want Death Stranding 2? Do you want something brand new? I want something brand new. I'll take Death Stranding 2 for sure. I love Death Stranding. But I would love to see... I love this Kojima being able to just make whatever he wants right now. It's awesome. Like, I love Metal Gear Solid. But that's over. I don't need any more of those, especially if he's not involved with it. I love that he's able to just let his mind go and work on new things now. So I'm just kind of digging this. Like, he could work on fucking anything. So I'd like to see him work on anything. Yeah, what do you think about Konami? What do you think about Konami making a Silent Hill game? And what do you think about the possibility of Konami possibly licensing out Silent Hill to Sony to work with Kojima making a Silent Hill game? Let me know everything you're thinking about in the comments below. Okay, second bit of news is a bit of leaks. So before I go into this, before I even look at the page, I'm going to warn you, I'm going to be talking about Avowed gameplay details that have been leaked. I'll be taking it with a grain of salt. I suggest you do the same. But if you don't want to hear anything about this game, skip ahead or stop watching the video now, because I'm going to be talking about leaks about the gameplay of Avowed, which is Obsidian's new seemingly first-person fantasy RPG that was announced during the Xbox Games Showcase. We did a whole episode on that on TastyCast. We reacted to that, so if you'd like to see what we thought of that, make sure to go back and watch that. But yeah, apparently there's already information on this game that's come out, and I'm going to be going through that because I am very interested in what the fuck that game is going to be. So, you've been warned. Moving forward, we're going into leak territory. These could be true. These could be absolutely, completely fucking fake. Let's go. So via Game Debate, Avowed gameplay details leak, set in Pillars of Eternity, open world, PC mod support, and more. So article says the Xbox Game Showcase came and went last week, and whilst it was clear that Halo Infinite was supposed to be the main takeaway, it was Obsidian who kind of swept the floor with their slate of 3 upcoming projects, including their brand new fantasy RPG, Avowed being one of the most anticipated games from the reveal. I read Halo Infinite and on accident just kind of laughed. I don't know why I did that. Take it as you will, but that was funny. Oh man, Craig. I want to play it. So yeah, but not much is really known right now other than the name and genre, as we only got a short CGI teaser. In that teaser, essentially showed a lot of sweeping shots, arrows in the dark, and a dude with a sword and casting a spell at something coming through a fucking doorway. That's pretty cool. But an alleged leak may have given us the best insight into the game and what we might be able to expect when it eventually comes out. The leak has been credited by a known insider already, Clobril, who recently leaked the Fable 4 would be revealed at the Xbox Game Showcase a week before the actual event. So then, what's the info? Well, after stealing the spotlight from Bethesda by making the arguably best Fallout game in the franchise, Fallout New Vegas. That shit's funny, man, because when fucking Fallout New Vegas came out, everybody bitched about how buggy it was, how shitty it was, blah, blah, blah. Then later it seemed like it kind of split off. That some people were like, that game's garbage, I fucking hated it. And other people were like, well, it's actually pretty good. And then now, I hear this argument all the time that it's the best Fallout ever. And I'm not even saying that's wrong. I just think it's funny how perception of something can change over time like that. There's a couple games that people like look back on now, and I hear them say like all these great things. I'm like, where the fuck were you guys then? I guess some things kind of you have to kind of just, experience it long enough to kind of let it do its thing and make people really appreciate it, I guess. Admittedly, Fallout New Vegas, behind all of its bugs and problems, was pretty decent. But Obsidian has, a great track record of making RPGs in general, so kind of makes sense. Obsidian seems to now be tackling the fantasy genre much like Skyrim. The leak suggests there will be all kinds of gameplay systems and mechanics at play, which all sound pretty cool, to be honest. Before we go into the details of the leaks, I think it's funny that Obsidian almost has started to make themselves if you're not going to make it, we'll fucking make it company. I mean, after Fallout New Vegas, they said it's arguably one of the best ones. I hear people say that all the time. Bethesda makes Fallout now, but Obsidian made it, and people are like, that one was the best one. And obviously they're not working on that anymore, and they made Outer Worlds, and a bunch of people really liked that, and that feels like what Bethesda should be making nowadays, and they're not at all, but Obsidian is. And now it sounds like Bethesda should be making another Elder Scrolls, and they are, but it's not coming out for another 20 years, so Obsidian will make it. Like, I don't know. I'm all for it. I like Obsidian, so if they want to jump in and join the open world, choose your own adventure, fantasy RPG world genre, I completely welcome that. Cyberpunk is about to come out, hopefully, and by the end of this year, and that's going to be one of the first games in a long time that's going to give me that kind of experience. I welcome anybody else to fucking do that as well. Like, let's go. Let's make these games again. Let's make them awesome. I'm so for it. So if they want to do it, awesome. Jumping into the leaks, final warning. So I did get new informations about Avowed. Fully open world, much, much larger than Skyrim, very differently larger. More proper word would be denser and more contrasted at the same time. So that's interesting. Bigger world, it's kind of expected, although I feel like now some people are moving away from the idea of bigger maps and trying to just make more involved maps, which I appreciate, because I remember back in the day, everyone was racing to make the biggest map ever, and they'd always be like, bigger map than this, bigger map than that, it's the biggest map in a game ever. And we started kind of realizing that these big maps were neat to explore in a visual sense, but they didn't offer gameplay. that was interesting. They didn't offer immersive worlds anymore, at least in my opinion. And so I'm less about offer me a big world and more so offer me a world that has stuff to do in it. That's way more important to me. Because, I mean, even if you look at a game, the only one's coming to mind right now, but there's plenty of them, is like, and it's not an RPG, but like Mafia 3 had like a big map, even Mafia 2. But there's like nothing to do in that fucking world. Even like Watch Dogs, these aren't the biggest maps, but they're maps, they're open world that have nothing to do in them. And these games all kind of like, specifically Mafia 3 and Watch Dogs, came out and people played the storyline, but they also were like, the fuck else do I do? What's even the point? Just make a linear game at this point because there's nothing else to do in this world. And there's been plenty of games like that. That's just a couple examples I can think of off the top of my head. And so like when you make an RPG and you make an open world, I mean, if it's not, if it doesn't have interesting things to explore and do, then it kind of loses any point of even having that world in the first place. We're well past the biggest map in gaming times now. So I can appreciate this idea of denser and more contrasted, where the fuck that means. That sounds to me kind of like they're going to be working on what is on the map and what's going on in the map, as opposed to how big the map is. So we can only hope. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. Primarily set in the Living Lands region of Aora. I'm assuming that's how you say that. Not sure if it'll go like that as explicit later on, but that was the starting point. I'm not sure what that is, but I'm assuming that has to do with Pillars of Eternity, a game that I've been very much wanting to play, but I just haven't played yet. I've heard very good things. Big focus on world reactivity, lighting, and next-gen AI systems and physics. Special focus on physics with magic systems. Have no clue what that, what would that mean. Sounds cool to me. I love lighting. I love AI. I love physics. I love tech. So this sounds like it's going to be a next-gen game. Very cool. Makes sense. Next-gen's right around the fucking corner. Although we're going to be in that weird period where people are going to be making games for a little bit of this, a little bit of that, made for both systems. But if it's like a full-on next-gen game, I'm all for it. I would love to see it. I'm actually kind of curious if this will be on like a more expansive version of the engine that they worked on for Outer Worlds, just because it kind of makes sense as like, easier development. But if it's something new, that's even better. Real-time weather system. Don't have full details, but fog is very important as real-time element. Rivers will have specific microphysics systems regarding this. Very interesting. It kind of sounds like in Arma 3. They have a fog system, and the fog actually creeps into the map from water sources from low points and slowly goes up and fills these banks, and then will dissipate from those banks like in real life. So it sounds like they're doing something similar to that, which is very cool. I'm all about that. Very advanced character creation tool. Didn't get more info. I like advanced character creation tools. Mod support. For now, PC will be very dominant as creation tool, but it'll be playable fully on Xbox. So it sounds like it's going to have the mod support that Bethesda was kind of doing with consoles. So that's interesting. Very large number of fractions, but very different approach than with Skyrim. Unless they're talking about math, which I wasn't paying attention in Skyrim, they might be talking about factions or clans or something like that, which is cool. That's pretty much kind of a main point of Elder Scrolls games, is kind of joining different groups, different guilds, stuff like that. So if they have a system like that, very cool. Definitely take that. It's a great idea. You'll be able to have companions different than Outer Worlds. Makes sense. I'm all about that too. That's pretty cool. Story set, fight against incoming threat of tyranny, independent from previous stories. So something probably connected to Pillars of Eternity's world, but a whole different thing, which makes complete sense as well. Game has bosses planned, and some of them are very, very large. Very cool sounding. We kind of got that in the teaser as well. It seemed like kind of like a Balrog fucking coming the hallway, about to come out. He's getting ready to fight it, casting shit. Makes sense. I believe that. Gods will have special say in the game. I don't know what the fuck that means, but I'm intrigued. I I don't know what you could take from that. Gods will have special say in the game. Okay. Great focus on iconic landmarks, statues, and buildings. I don't know if they're talking about in the way that they're making this map and world, if they're trying to make these iconic visuals so you can kind of recognize the world, which I could really appreciate. I like map design like that. Or if they're referencing that there's landmark statues and buildings from Pillars of Eternity that they're going to be bringing into this game that you're going to recognize if you're a fan of the series. Either of those are cool. Hopefully it's both. I'd be down for that. 2 large cities planned with many smaller ones with strong focus on contrasting wild areas, rivers, mountains, and desolated areas. Yes, you'll be able to swim. Dope. I'm all about swimming. I wonder what we mean by large cities. Obviously, they're going to be cities that are large, but are we talking about like mega cities, big fucking places, or just 2 cities and then like a couple towns here or there, which sounds kind of small. But if they're like 2 big ass cities and then there's like decent sized towns and little tiny like communities, that'd be very cool. I like the idea. You think back to like Oblivion, and you had like the main city in the center and everything surrounding it, and it'd be cool. The idea of having like 2 of those, two different places that are big and have a lot going on, with stuff around that. I like that idea. So maybe that's what they're doing. I don't know. It's kind of vague. Fully respecting Path of Exile. When I saw PoE, I thought of fucking Path of Exile. Fuck yeah, I think I just said that. Pillars of Eternity. It's Pillars of Eternity, but when I see PoE, I think of Path of Exile. Fully respecting Pillars of Eternity creatures lore with new additions. I don't have a reference for that. I haven't played Pillars of Eternity, not Path of Exile. But I like that. I like that. Maybe I'll play them and I'll fucking love them and I'll be able to really just enjoy that. Dynamic presentation of dialogue makes complete sense. I mean, they worked on Fallout, they worked on The Outer Worlds. This is something that you would absolutely want to carry over. This is something that people enjoy in these kind of games. I like it, so I'm all for it. For now, idea is to keep you can kill everyone in the game option. I like that. That gives you that whole, I'm going to play this how I want to play it. I'm going to make my own decisions and choices. They've already made 2 games that allow you to do this anyway. Well, 2 games within this genre that allow you to do that. And so I see them probably doing that, and I like that they're going to do that. There's not enough games that really allow you to do that. Around 100 people are on the project for 2 years. Smaller number for 7M of pre-production. 7 months in total. 2 years, 7 months. Okay, yeah. So they've been working on it for a little bit. That's interesting. 2 years, 7 months. So a lot of games take like 3 years to get made. 2 to 3 years if they're like not super big, and then maybe 4 or 5 years sometimes, and then you don't really get into the 7-year mark unless you've been having issues developing a game. So this game sounds like it's getting close to done, or it's pretty far into its development. I would assume. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw gameplay for it later this year. Team will still grow, so they still got plans to work on this, which makes sense. Target date late 2022, 2023. So that makes sense. Yeah, 5 years then. 4 or 5 years they're going to be working on this. Which makes complete sense, especially at a game at that scale. Keep in mind that some parts of this can change during the development process, which makes complete sense as well. Overall, this sounds great. This literally sounds like them taking their shot at the fantasy first-person action RPG genre where you choose your own adventure, you make your decisions, you build your character the way you want to build them, which I think is how you play Pillars of Eternity as well. I think you get to make your own characters and maybe make your own decisions, similar to Divinity Original Sin 2. It always kind of seems similar to that, but I know it has different systems when it comes to the combat and stuff like that. But it makes sense to translate that into a first-person game, and I really like that. But this whole game sounds great to me. I'm not going to go back through every single detail because I pretty much talked about all of them. But this is a game that I want to play. And this is a game that I'm very curious about. I want to see more on. I'm actually pretty excited for this. Now, we didn't see gameplay, so I can't be super excited for it. I like the concept of what we saw in the teaser, and I like what I'm hearing here. If these are true, if any of this is true, which a lot of it sounds like it's going to be true. This all sounds pretty legit when it comes to what they've done in the past and what they will probably do in the future. But I'm all for it. I'm all for Obsidian making a new big AAA first-person RPG. There's not enough of them anymore, and I want more, and I think Obsidian could really nail it. Obsidian really kind of does what they want, which I really respect from them. Like when they were making the Outer Worlds, they came upon a glitch, and they liked it so much they just made it a weapon in the game. So they really kind of do what they want for playability, and if they got an idea that they think sounds fun, they'll make it, and they just have a whole track record of doing that. And I think that that's going to translate into this as well. So very excited for it. And if these leaks are true at all, which I feel like they're going to be, I think Avowed's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a game worth keeping your eye on, and we'll be talking about it more and more on the channel as we progress forward towards that game's release. But let me know in the comments, what do you guys think of Avowed? What do you think about the prospect of it being similar to the genre that Skyrim is a part of? Do you want this? Do you not want this? Is this your style of game? Is it not your style of game? I think it's kind of hard to argue that it's not a lot of people's style of game, because Skyrim is very popular. Like really, really fucking popular. Like people I know who don't play video games were referencing Skyrim for like fucking 20 years. And like, oh yeah, Skyrim, and a bunch of them are playing it too, which is great. I love that people who even aren't into gaming were playing Skyrim. It really brought a lot of people to it, which is cool. But if we get more games like Skyrim, I feel like they're gonna do well, just because of just how well Skyrim did. I mean, they've re-released it on everything ever. So they went back and re-released it on Sega Genesis. I mean, like, if there's a console, they're going to fucking put Skyrim on it. So what do you think about all these details? What sounds most exciting to you when it comes to Avowed? What's your favorite Obsidian game? They've made a lot of good games. Are you one of those people who really love Fallout New Vegas? I've had people recommend Pillars of Eternity a million times. It's a game I keep talking about wanting to play. I haven't played it, and people are like, you should play it. I'm eventually going to play it, hopefully. Specifically, hearing that this will be connected to that makes me even more interested in wanting to play those games, so I can kind of go into it with that that mindset of knowing the world a little bit, which sounds very cool. But yeah, let me know everything you're thinking about in the comments below when it comes to Avowed. And that's going to do it for this episode of Tasty Tuesday on Tasty Loot Gaming. As always, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to check out our other episodes. Check us out on Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok at Tasty Loot Gaming. Check out my streams, links down below. I'm hoping to stream Grounded here soon, because that's supposed to be out, and it just won't let me play it right now. We have a Discord link down below. You can talk to us anytime, all the time. We're on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms if you prefer to listen to us in audio form. And yeah, we got a Patreon link down below. You can support the channel even further than liking, commenting, sharing, and all that cool stuff. And yeah, my name's Seth. Until the next episode, which will be something I'm sure we got Plus Club and Game of the Month coming out this week. It's going to be a weird week because the month ends on Friday, and we got to get those episodes out soon. So we'll be doing that. So look forward to 2 episodes coming this week. Until then, have a good week, guys, and take it easy.